Dr. Haider Shah. On behalf of Colvas, I would like to welcome all of you to this webinar. Thank you very much for joining us. Today we have another very interesting topic, and I'm really honored to welcome and introduce our distinguished guest speaker who is going to talk about leading with empathy and impact, women in leadership across the sectors. So today we'll explore how women are transforming leadership by bridging empathy, resilience, strategic vision to the forefront across different industries, disciplines, and borders. This session is not just about celebrating the achievements, but also about learning, connecting, empowering the next generation for inclusive leaders. So, really, very interesting session. I'm really honored to having our guest speaker. You will get the best insight, right guidance, and suggestion about all these things because we have an expert with us in today's session. So stay tuned because amazing stuff are coming ahead in this session. So before we start, I would like to thank Kalwas for arranging such enlightenment sessions, for their support and providing us such a wonderful platform. The aim of Kalwas is to give you the opportunity to connect and interact with world-renowned speakers, academic leaders, teachers, authors, researchers, experts, professionals, and businessmen to learn from their experiences, recommendation, and suggestion, which will create an impact and will enable you to learn and develop yourself in order to grow and transform individually, as well as to contribute to the world in positive way. As our slogan is come, learn, and share knowledge. So today we have a great person as guest, a person with a wonderful experience, internationally known and recognized personality. She is always available for contribution to the world, to the field, and always ready to share her knowledge to the field. So let me introduce her formally. She is a senior lecturer and program coordinator for the Bachelor of Business Administration in Human Resource Management and Bachelor of Business Administration in Management, Nilai University, Malaysia. With nearly 19 years of experience in higher education, she has accomplished academic and practitioner specialization in the human resource management, talent development, entrepreneurship, leadership, and sustainability. She is the HRD corporate accredited trainer and MQA certified assessor and a lifetime member of Malaysian Institute of Human Resource Management (MIHRM). Actively involved in training and research, she holds several national and international professional membership and contribute as a manuscript reviewer and editorial board member for various scholarly journals internationally. She is renowned for her expertise. She is regularly invited as a keynote speaker, panelist, and session chair at conferences locally and internationally. Some of the awards she got is the Global Teacher Award 2024, Iconic Sustainability Role Model for Asia 2024, Sustainability Champion Award 2024, and Bronze Medal Badge Appreciation Award 2025 under the SPSC Ambassador Program reflect her outstanding leadership in advancing sustainability and innovation. Through her leadership, visionary leadership, and commitment to high impact talent development, she continues to inspire progress across academic and professional spheres. Last but not the least, she is a wonderful speaker, author, teacher, researcher, professional, and above everything, a great human being. So please help me in welcoming our guest, Ms. Nazira. Welcome to the Kalwas platform, and thank you very much for joining us, Prof.
Okay. First of all, Assalamualaikum and very good evening. All right. Thank you very much for the kind invitation to speak at today's international webinar. It was truly an honor to be part of such a meaningful and insightful platform. Especially to you, Dr. Haider. It is truly a pleasure to be here with all of you today.
Thank you so much, Prof, for your
Right.
and it's over to you, Prof. Thank you.
All right. Okay. First of all, I would like to say that I'm still ongoing with my PhD research. All right. Yet to be called a doctor. Soon, inshallah. All right. Again, I would like to truly honored to be invited uh, in this distinguished platform and to be engaged in a meaningful dialogue with all of you today, the professional, the passionate learners from across the globe. Okay, so thank you once again, Dr. Haider, for this wonderful opportunity. So let us look forward to an insightful and impactful session together. Okay. So I would like to introduce myself again. I'm the guest speaker for today. And myself, I am Miss Nazeranah Haji Omar, the Senior Lecturer and Program Coordinator, School of Management and Marketing, Faculty of Business, Hospitality and Humanities, Nilai University, Malaysia. I'm attached and affiliated with Nilai University for the past 9 years. All right. Okay. Next. So today, um, we are going to have a particular, I would say, very interesting topic, which is leading with empathy and impact, where women in leadership across sectors. First of all, I would like all of us to understand what is empathic leadership. Empathic leadership involves understanding the emotions, perspectives, and realities of others, and then acting on that understanding. According to Daniel Goleman, 1995, it is a pillar of emotional intelligence where the foundation of high performing human centered leadership. So, being an empathetic leadership, you need to have the key components of cognitive empathy, where understanding someone's thought, emotional empathy, where sharing in their feelings, and last but not least, a compassionate empathy, where we have to taking supportive and action. Moving forward, why empathic leadership is very important and why does it matters? A 2021 Deloitte report showed that leaders with high empathy outperform those without it in team satisfaction, retention, and innovation. So this is really very important in the real world leadership insight, where empathy is not about being nice all the time, but it's about being human, consistent, and transparent in a way that motivates and empower the others. Next. Okay. So women in leadership today. Women account for 48.1% of the global workforce in 2024. This is the latest statistics that shows women already leading the global workforce with 48.1% in the worldwide. All right. In the next slides, we can see that the global states of women leadership, women are everywhere in different industry, whereby the leadership gender diversity benchmarks, we can see that women's already becoming CEOs, the unicorn startups companies, finance, Russell's, fintech, fortune, health, and all the other particular industries are already led by women. So women are already leading in today's world. Next. Okay. So, women in leadership today. Let's see the global snapshot. On average, women make up only 23% of high potential pools at top performing organizations. The numbers are even smaller in underperforming organizations, where only 14% of leaders in high potential pools are women. These are the statistics from DDI Global Leadership Forecast 2023. Next. So, as companies seek to create more inclusive cultures for everyone, a clear representation of women leaders is one of the leading indicators to consider. Organizations with an above average number of women leaders are 1.9 times more likely to be rated as having an inclusive culture than those with fewer women. Now you can see how important are women inside the industry. And this is also a valid statistics from DDI Global Leadership Forecast 2023. Next. I would like to also emphasize on the Fortune 500 CEOs. As of September 2024, the following shows the women data compiled for the Fortune 500 companies. You can see where the state of women in leadership at Fortune 500 companies, 10.4% of women are CEOs, 33% of women are on the board of directors. 7.8% of people on the board of directors are women of color. And 65% of female board members feel that they will influence on their boards compared to 81% of male board directors. Don't get upset, dear men, but then women are going to rule the world after this. All right. Okay. So let's move forward. We can also see that there is also statistics and graph showing that the Fortune 500 women CEOs have been promoted from within their company. There is a great great curve of demand on women as CEOs on the Fortune 500 companies. All right. So we can see that the gender over time has overlapped, where women CEOs are increasing year by year. Okay, next. Okay, so let's see the reality check. Okay, the reality of women in leadership today. What makes women has pursue and also trying to conquer the world and also being outstanding as leaders in the world nowadays. Move forward. Okay. So one of the greatest factor is whereby women are growing. And how are we growing? Through the educational attainment and also workforce representation. All right. There is 58.5% of bachelor's degrees were earned by women. 54.2% of PhDs were earned by women, and 60.1% of master degrees were earned by women. So these are the statistics from the past year, 2024. So women are really getting educated, and they are needed in every industrial sectors, emphasizing their intelligence and also leadership empowerment in moving forward the organization or any industrial sectors which they are leading in. Next. The second factor that I would say is the growth trends in female-dominated sectors. Education and healthcare sectors added approximately 42,000 jobs in 2024, continuing their historical growth trends. There are a lot of statistics showing that women has conquered education and healthcare services. Manufacturing added only 15,000 jobs, while mining and lodging declined by about 5,000 jobs. But nevertheless, women are everywhere, even in manufacturing and also mining. The growth of traditionally female sectors may help reduce the gender employment gap. So this, I would say strongly, the second factor are also a push factor for women to dominate all the industrial sectors, where it is an open opportunity for women to pursue their ambition of being leaders in the specific industry that they have chosen. Next. Okay. So women in STEM. I would like to emphasize in STEM. STEM is science, technology, engineering, mathematics, field that continues to grow, albeit slowly. As of 2024, 35% of STEM students globally are women, unchanged from previous years. So 25% of AI professionals are women, up from 22% in earlier reports. So they all represent STEM. And we can see there is a 40% growth of women in STEM students globally in future. And this is predicted by 2030, within 6 years' time, the percentage of 35% will be increased to 40%. So this really showing that women nowadays are dominating the STEM industry, which is inclusive of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, which I would say inclusive of AI also. Next. Next, okay. Now, again, the gender segregation in professions, all right. From before, during our ancestors' time, they already decided that there would be a gender segregation by professions. But nowadays, women are breaking the rules. We are dominating those particular professions as our ambition. Where we can see the statistics here, 96% in the speech language pathologists are women. 90% of dental assistants are women. 80% of social workers are women. 67% of physical therapists are women. And also 62% of pharmacists are women. So when we do not forget about education sector that I've already mentioned earlier. So from here, we can already see that even though we have gender segregation in profession, there are few particular industries or professions still dominated by women. And being dominated by women, that will show that the leaders or the key positions inside these particular industries are held by women. Next. I would like to touch about a bit on the sectoral leadership, whereby leadership can be divided into a few sectoral, basically reflecting to the industries. The first one is corporate leadership. Next. So corporate leadership refers to strategic oversight and executive decision-making process that guide private companies toward profitability, innovation, and operational excellence. This is quoted by Northhouse 2022. It includes responsibilities such as setting vision, managing stakeholders, and developing organizational culture. How does this corporate leadership embedded into the empathy in corporate leadership? Empathy in corporate settings builds stronger teams, reduces turnover, and increases innovation by creating inclusive and psychologically safe environments. This is also indicated by Goldman 1995, Harvard Business Review 2021. I would like to give an example of corporate leadership. Indra Nooyi, the former CEO of Pepsi Company. She has integrated emotional connection into corporate structure by writing letters to families of senior executives, boosted female leadership, and initiated ethical supply chain strategies. This is how her leadership and empathy has been shown in the corporate leadership. The second famous empathy leadership is under public sector leadership. Public sector leadership involves the direction of government institutions and public policy systems for the purpose of public service delivery, social order, and civic engagement. This is by Den Hart and Den Hart 2015. Leaders operate under complex political, legal, and social constraints. Empathy in public leaderships are shown in the public sphere design policies that reflects people needs and life realities, especially for marginalized communities, stated by Benny's 2009. The perfect example for public sector leadership is Michelle Bachelet. She is the former president of Chile, former UN High Commissioner, and she has implemented progressive reforms, which is equal cabinet representation in universal childcare, which led with listening-based governance and international rights advocacy. The third leadership style would be under NGO and educational. NGO and educational leaderships refers to mission-driven leadership within civil society organizations and educational institutions that aim to produce societal value, equity, and systematic change rather than profits, stated by Lewis and Kenji, 2009. So empathy in NGO and education leaderships shows how the NGO helps the education leaders center where their work around community needs and social justice, often influenced by direct personal experiences or service orientation, stated by CNEC 2011. Next. The NGO and educational leadership example is Malala Yousafzai. She is the co-founder of Malala Fund, Empathy Transformed into Global Action After Personal Trauma. Her fund supports local advocates, education access, and girls' rights globally. Okay. So last but not least is from the entrepreneurial leadership. Entrepreneurial leadership involves identifying opportunities, mobilizing resources, and taking calculated risks to build and scale innovative ventures, often under uncertainty, stated by Gupta et al. 2004. Empathy in entrepreneurial leadership are shown by empathic entrepreneurs design human-centric products, create ethical workplaces, and promote inclusive values from the ground up, stated by Brown 2009. Okay. The entrepreneur leadership example would be Whitney Wolfe-Herd, the CEO of Bumble, transformed gender norms in tech after workplace harassment. She has created a woman-first platform grounded in safety and emotional respect. Now, let's move forward with the impactful leadership through empathy. Traditional leadership often focuses on performance metrics, key performance indicators like revenue, output, and efficiency. However, empathic leadership goes beyond KPIs to build long-lasting cultures, inclusive environments, and trust-driven organization. Empathy is the cornerstone of impactful leadership, and it fosters loyalty, innovation, and sustainable results, quoted by Goldman, 1995. So from here, we can see what research has shows. According to a 2021 report by Catalyst, 76% of people with highly empathetic leaders report they are more engaged at work. Deloitte 2020 found that leaders who shows empathy increase team innovation by 40% and reduce burnout by 30%. A study by Business Solver 2021 indicated that 87% of employees who feel heard and understood by their managers are less likely to leave, while 85% of employees perceive their companies as having low empathy, especially in large organizations. So, according to all the studies that we have done, we can do a comparison between empathetic leadership versus traditional leadership. Okay, we can compare these two leadership styles, where the empathic leadership styles versus the traditional leadership. Traditional leadership is more to command and control, autocratic, bureaucratic, democratic. It is more to command and control. So we can see different from the different perspective or criteria, whereby both of these leadership styles can be measured from the engagement, retention, innovation, and trust of the people surrounded. All right, where we can see in the empathic leadership style, the engagement is high. The retention of people inside the organizations are high. The innovation are high and trust are high. Whereby I would say in empathetic leadership styles, where we use the EI, the emotional intelligence, where we nurture our particular ideas, we have a strong emotional command and controls, and it also we give exposure to the others, we listen to the others' ideas. Therefore, the empathic leadership styles have a high engagement, retention, innovation, and trust. Okay. And compared to the traditional leadership, command and control, the engagement is quite low, the retention is medium, innovation is low, and also trust is low, whereby we know the traditional leadership are mostly used for theory X and Y people, where they are just waiting to get command rather than developing their new ideas and so on. And all these sources are compiled from the Harvard Business Review, Catalyst, Deloitte Insights. Right. Okay. I would like to also provide a few real world role models of empathetic impact. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, her role as the Director General of World Trade Organization, WTO. Okay, I love this quote from Okonjo where she has stated global trade must be about lifting people up, not just protecting profit. All right, whereby I believe a great leader likes to lift all the people around them. A great leader will be a push factor to grow the people around them. A great leader will lift together the people surrounded by them. So this is what quoted by Okonjo-Iweala, and she stand by this particular quote on her own. The impact through empathy. As the first African and first woman to lead the WTO, she fosters diplomatic consequences among 164 members countries with vastly different agendas. It is not easy to tackle 164 member countries with different gender leading the country, but being the first African woman, okay, where we can say color leader, okay, she lead the WTO. She uses her Nigerian roots and lived experience of inequality to push for more inclusive trade discussions, especially for low-income and developing countries. During the COVID-19 crisis, she advocated for vaccine equity, launching the COVAX initiative through the Gavi alliances. There are also a lot of evidences where she introduced policies that enable small economies to have stronger representation in WTO rulings, and her empathetic negotiation approach resolved the fishery subsidy conflict, a decades-long impasse affecting coastal communities. The second real-world role model that carries empathetic impact is Kamala Harris. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay. So Kamala Harris, who don't know her, all right? Her role as the Vice President of United States of America. Her impact through empathy can be seen as she is the first female, Black, and South Asian Vice President. Harris frequently acknowledges the emotional and systemic struggles faced by marginalized communities. Her leadership is grounded in storytelling, active listening, and advocacy for social justice, the hallmarks of empathetic governance. Personally, she is one of the role model of mine. All right. Okay, moving forward, there are a lot of key examples that Kamala has shown. In 2021, she led listening sessions with Asian American communities after rising hate crimes, helping shape Biden anti-hate crime executive order. As a senator, she advocated for maternal health equity, citing personal family experience and statistical disparities affecting Black women in healthcare. She introduced the Maternal Care Act, targeting bias in maternal health treatment after studies showed Black women in US are 3 times more likely to die from childbirth complications. Her focus on empathy was evident in her COVID-19 town halls, where she consistently validated fears and reassured communities, especially those disproportionately affected. Next. Let's see how we can cultivating future for women leaders, right? I would also emphasize that mentorship and visibility are key. Research shows women are less likely to have access to informal leadership networks. This is quoted by McKinsey 2023. What helped to cultivate leadership in women? Strong role models, safe spaces for voice and visibility, leadership programs with an emotional intelligence focus, where I personally believe these are some of the limitations and also challenges we, the future women who wants to become leaders, are facing. We do not have strong role models to teach us, to mentor us of being strong leaders, strong women. There are also a lot of challenges for us to have safe space to voice out and to become visible. And there are also lack of a lot of leadership programs with an emotional intelligent focus, where I believe if we started to have a lot of leadership programs to polish and also to educate the women, we will be more stronger in our emotional intelligence. So why this mentorship matters? Women leaders often face isolation at the top because the percentage of women leaders are still small. Having role models and allies increases confidence and career advancement. So, as I stated earlier, it is really important to have a lot of apprenticeship programs, a lot of role model programs, mentor mentee, or I would also suggest for leadership training programs for women to increase their confidence and career and advancement. This also can be an empowering the pipeline, where we have to provide a lot of visibility to young women in leadership training, normalizing empathy as a leadership trait, but not a weakness, right? So how to cultivate empathy in leaders? We have to have active listening, where we have to teach leaders to hear without judgment. Perspective taking, where we encourage women to consider diverse angles in decision making, and also creating feedback cultures, where we have to normalize dialogue over hierarchy. For examples, Oprah Winfrey, USA, built a media empire while investing heavily in leadership and education programs for girls in Africa. Tina Chen in USA, founder of Time's Up Legal Defense Fund, addressed systematic workplace harassment and mentoring emerging leaders programs. So, to conclude, I definitely feel empathy is not gendered, and there are many statistics shows that women often lead with it more naturally. I've shown a few leaders that I have picked up from different industrial sectors, and also those who are moving forward to become future women leaders. There are impactful leadership which is grounded in human connection. Be human. Sectors may differ, but purpose, empathy, and action unite successful women leaders. With that, I would like to conclude with a quote that empathy fuels connection. Impact builds legacy. Women are already doing both. It's time we recognize and support that. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Noor, for your wonderful presentation and explaining the empathy concept in a wonderful way. I like the way you started it. You started it just after defining it, and you have given the references it, and I could see that you are since academic, so you
Yeah.
give reference for each thing. I like the way you just showed the different statistic, different research studies, and I like the way you just quoted the different role models, the leaders, the
Mhm.
examples from where we can see and relate very well. And you narrated in a wonderful way that it became like a storytelling, that you are
Yeah.
telling the story in where how can women are have contributed and how they are contributing still. And the way you just included the different personalities of the world from around the globe was phenomenal. I really appreciated the way you just explain each and everything, and that was in a so simple way, in a so simple language that anyone could grasp the concept of empathy, particularly related to leadership. That how can the leadership plays a significant role while having the empathy. And I love the way you just concluded it, the wonderful quote. Everything was so wonderful, and I was just thinking that when you will be in the class, how great teacher you would be when you will be explaining any
Thank you.
things. So really appreciate. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And so many questions you have already addressed in your wonderful presentation, because it was very concise and very particular related to the this concept. For example, they have asked regarding the mentorship, which you have already explained very well. The question was that how important is the mentorship in developing the empathetic and impactful women leaders. So now I move to the second question, which needs your elaboration. So the second question is that they want to ask that what actions can organization take to support and retain women in leadership, especially during challenging times? Yes, please.
Okay. As I've shown the statistic, even I did not give a gender gap or employment gap statistics. We already known in the world now, women are leading than men. Okay, so it is already clearly shown. Women are starting to increase in every organization, every industrial sectors, even though mining, manufacturing, education, healthcare, and so on. All right. Okay. So whereby we can already know that every particular organization, the numbers of women are more than men. But then, as I said, one of the challenges and limitations are women are not being heard. Women are always labeled as weak. Women are always labeled as emotional disasters. But then, this is where we have to bring changes. Try to give women the positions, try to guide them, give, or I would say, provide them a proper channel, educate them via mentorship program, apprenticeship program. We need to polish the diamond. I believe all women are diamonds. They just need to be polished. All right. So they will shine bright like a diamond. Trust me. They need to be at the right position, right person to guide them, and they will start to shine bright. Okay. By giving them a chance to lead, by giving them a proper channel to control their emotional, by giving them a proper space for them to provide their insights, to give their opinion, to provide their particular opinion, suggestions, recommendations. They have a lot of ideas. Not only that, women also gather and hold the teams very nicely, because why? We listen, we listen with empathy. We listen, but then we are not too emotional. We listen, and then we also will counter back with more opinion. We uplift the others. So I believe when women are given a right position in an organization, they will leave the surrounding to become more productive, achieving the goals of the company itself.
Yeah, very nice, wonderful. You have elaborated very nicely, and you have given wonderful example for that as well. One another question, which is really very interesting as well, and that requires your piece of advice. They want to ask that what is one piece of advice you would like to give to young women aspiring to lead with purpose in today's world, which is very dynamic? Yes, please.
All right. All right. It is everyone's ambition to shine bright like a star, like a diamond in the world. But then we need to be intelligence. We need to have a lot of insights. We need to have education empowerment in order for us, the young women, to aspire and lead with purpose in today's world. All right. Of course, we need to have one particular purpose, what we want to be, what we want to do, and then how do we reach to that particular goal and ambition. And for me, as an educator, I always believe education is the key for us to lead from the others, or being led by the others. And that is also by education, by qualification, will definitely grow us to lead inside this particular world with purposes.
Wow, wonderful, very nice. Thank you very much. I'm enjoying the way you are giving answers since we are short of time. So, very quick, one last question, and they want to
Yeah.
ask regarding to our sector, which is academia as well. That in
Mhm.
your sector, what structure or cultural barriers continue to hinder the advancement of women into the top leadership role despite evidence of their impact, which you have already shown? Yes, please.
Since I think even Dr. Haider is from Human Resource Management and OB, so do I from the Human Resource Management. All right. I would say the inferiority complex and also the status quo, okay, is the cultural, is another, I would say, challenges and limitations of cultural barriers, where when we compare the gender, okay, inside every organization they have this mentality only men can hold the positions, only men can do wonders, and also men can only be the leader. Okay, so we have to break these culture barriers, the status quo, the mentality, and we have to provide the trust and also integrity, pride to these women in order for them to become top leaders in the world.
Wow, very nice, wonderful. Thank you so much. And I wish we could have more time to ask further question as well, but since we have the time limitation, so thank you once again for your wonderful Q&A session. And Ms. Noor, at the end of the session, we ask our each guest regarding their message to the world. So, what is your message to the world as a speaker, author, teacher, researcher, trainer, and learner? Yes, please.
Okay. I will make it simple. As a human in this world, strive forward, never stops, because the sky is the limit.
Wow, very nice. What a powerful message you have given to the world. I think you have squeezed the ocean into a
Yeah.
drops. Very nice,
Okay.
wonderful. Thank you so much. And to the audience, please do follow our distinguished guest speaker through her research work, and you can email her for future learning and guidance. She is very generous and always ready to help the people. That's all we have time for today. And thank you once again, Miss Noor
My
Nazrina Haji Umar.
my pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And I would like to thank our audience who joined us. If you have any additional questions about information shared today, please email us or connect to the speaker directly through her email or social media account. Thank you all for your support and liking our sessions. Stay tuned as many sessions are on the way. Please do not miss any session. Until next session, take care of yourself. Bye bye.